Hello, yes. Welcome to a review of Spider-Man PS4. Now, I just finished the game, like, a couple of seconds ago, and I just, yeah, yeah, it's a good game. However, there are parts that I didn't really like. Not because they were bad, just because actually, some parts are bad. This game, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it has problems, underlying problems that make it just bad and that just could be better. Yeah. Anyway, so what the game nails down to a T is the Spider-Man part of it. It is fun. Swinging around is fun. Like like Spider-Man's quips, they're fun. And yeah, it's fun. Like when the game is good, it's amazing, and you're like, man, I'm having such a good time. I sure wish that I could play as someone who isn't Spider-Man in forced stealth sections that aren't fun, and if I get caught, I get sent back to the checkpoint. Wow, could you imagine if that was in this game? I would be so happy. But that I'll get to that later. Another thing that I liked was the story, and with Spider-Man PS4, it's not an origin story. The game just assumes that you know who Spider-Man is and what Spider-Man is like. And you know what? That works. The game basically says, listen, we've done the song and dance enough. We don't need to do it again. You're Spider-Man. We won't talk about it if you don't. Okay, pal? And then you're like, okay. And because you start like already a decent amount, I think it's yeah, it's 8 years into Spider-Man's journey. Like a lot of the villains that you fight are already villain. There's only one villain in the game where you go through his entire story, and that's Doc Ock. And you know what? I like it. It's fine. It's fun. It's a good story. And you know what? At the end, I was kind of sad. Cause they like yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna get into stories and into spoilers yet. I will be spoiling stuff, but for now, I will try and keep it spoiler free. The next good thing is the open world. It's fun. Like swinging around it, it's fun. It's fun exploring New York, and like it is New York. You can see a lot of the different attractions. You can see the Empire State Building, Times Square, that one that one building that's kind of like a triangle. I don't know what it's called, but it's there. And like there's all the bridges, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, the whatever bridge, bridge to Terabithia, whatever. Yeah, that was also in the game, and it's fun. One thing that isn't fun is the backpacks, cause like it took me out of the immersion, cause there are 55 backpacks throughout the map. I got all of them, and what Peter had to say when I got the first one was, "Man, I forgot I had all these backpacks lying around. How do you go through 55 backpacks without forgetting?" No, accidentally knocked over a can. But how do you like lose 55 backpacks? Like it's just weird. And that's besides the point. Now for some of the criticisms. This game is very just paint by numbers. It feels a lot like all the other AAA games. You're like, I've done this before. And I have played four of these kinds of games. Like, like what I mean is like it's open world. There's collectibles all around, and there are outposts with bad guys that you can clear, and just yeah. Trust me, like I'm gonna name off the other three of these kinds of games that I've played, uh, and I'm not gonna lie, I liked all three of them more. Like the first one, Dying Light. I'm not gonna lie, Dying Light, it's very paint by numbers, but I loved it because I wasn't expecting much and I got a lot out of it. That one's better. Another example would be Far Cry 3, which is also amazing, and the best example of it is Ghost of Tsushima, which is like one of the best games I played on PS4. It's amazing and it deserved Game of the Year. Anyway, yeah, Spider-Man PS4 felt very paint by numbers. Like it just felt really similar to a lot of other games I've played. And I do not mean that as a compliment. Sometimes it works, but for the most part, like getting all of the landmarks and all the backpacks, I was just like, this is I like not complaining, but like with Ghost of Tsushima, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I saw an undiscovered location on the map, some goblin in my brain was like, "Ooh, ooh, question mark, go to it, go to it," and yeah, I really liked doing that. Spider-Man PS4 did not have that same sort of goblin in my brain. Anyway, now for some real complaints. The Mary Jane sections. I hated these so much. So much. Every single time a Mary Jane section would come up, I would always just get so mad. Because it was not fun. It's the worst kind of stealth. You know how you make stealth good? Make it optional. But also, make it so that when you get caught, it's not, oops, you're back to the checkpoint. Like, Far Cry 3, it probably has my favorite stealth system, and that was fun, because, like, it just worked. The Mary Jane sections do not. And there are so many of them. I think there's, like, 5 or 6. But guess what? Those weren't fun at all. Those were the opposite of fun. Every time I was in one, I was just like, please, let me go back to Spider-Man. I just want to go back to Spider-Man. Please. Spider-Man is all I want. All I want is to play Spider-Man. If I wanted to play Diet Coke Metal Gear Solid, I'd play Diet Coke Metal Gear Solid. This is not what I want. Please. And the Miles Morales sections aren't much better. Because, oops, it's the same thing. The one thing I will say is, the last Mary Jane section was slightly fun, because I had a stun gun, and I could actually assassinate the guys. And there was more to it. It's like, yay, bop. But here's the thing. It still wasn't fun in any of the other examples. I hated going through every single Mary Jane section and Miles Morales section. It just killed all the fun I had. It was so bland and nothing and boring and opposite of fun. Luckily, there's an exploit called setting the game to easy. Anyway, it's spoiler time for the stuff with the story. First off, the first villain you fight, actually second villain you fight, is literally the most boring character ever. Shocker. And when they said, oh, it's Shocker, oh, that's a shocker, I thought they meant Electro, who does show up later. But like, he was so boring. And you fight him like twice. The first time, it's whatever. The second time, dear Lord, I have not seen worse boss design in a game. It's shocking how bad the Shocker fight was. I had to set it to very easy, and it was still so annoying. Cause like, I wasn't getting it, but I didn't want to just struggle through it, because I had no idea how to deal with some of his stupid attacks. It was the opposite of fun. I hated it so much, and like, it was so painful to play. I hated it. It sucked so much. Words can't describe how bad that fight was. Okay. Some of the other villains are fine. Most of them aren't given a lot of screen time. Like they're like in the second act, a lot of or at the end of the second act, the Supermax prison is like prison broken, and a lot of the supervillains escape, and you have like two kerfuffles with them, and one of them is the first one where it's you're at the prison, and like all the guys that get out are like Rhino, Scorpion, Electro, Vulture, and Martin Lee, who I will get to. These villains were fine. I can't complain. Boss design was very but eh. That's what I think of those fights. But for Martin Lee, it was different. Martin Lee, in case you're wondering, who's Martin Lee? Basically, there's a homeless shelter which Martin Lee runs, and Aunt May helps run it with him, and the first boss you fight is Kingpin, and it's a fine boss fight. Anyway, after Kingpin gets locked up, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna regret this. I was keeping the criminals in check. I guarantee it." And then like the demons show up, who are a new gang, and they're worse. But then there's a cutscene where you're checking in with Aunt May, and Martin Lee comes in and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I gotta go. I have some family business to get to. I don't know when I'll be back. Make sure you take care of this place for me. It represents the best part of me." And as soon as he said that, and while he was saying it, he was like rubbing the wall all weird. I got such bad vibes from it. I immediately knew, oh, he's evil. He's going to turn evil. I called it. And then there's the part where he bombs City Hall, and guess what? It showed up, and I was like, I was just like, someone better pick up that phone, because I can hear it ringing. You know why it's ringing? Because I called it. And like the finale, on a more positive note, the Doc Ock stuff I enjoyed. I mean, I saw it coming, but it was kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, it was sad. I was sad because like Doc Ock and Peter, they were friends, and it's just oops, we hate each other now. I'm evil. Sorry, Peter, but Norman Osborn, he like did evil, so now I'm gonna murder him. Haha. Anyway, like for for all these reasons, I'm not gonna lie. Spider-Man PS4, it's honestly a disappointing 7 out of 10. Like, there is legitimate, good, great parts to Spider-Man PS4. The web slinging, the story, and like Spider-Man, it's fun, but there's just too much points where you're like, I hate this. Oh, I didn't even rip into the controls. The controls sometimes work, but when they don't, it is so annoying. Like, I hate the controls at times. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. And like, it's not ever like twice the controls will kill you. Like at least 20 times throughout my playthrough, the controls just didn't work. And it was just so annoying because oops, 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 I'm having a stroke. I can't move correctly, and yeah, and another thing, that you can hear J. Jonah Jameson talk, and honestly, I like it. However, it is Diet Pepsi. It's Diet Pepsi, J.K. Simmons. Not in a good way. It just, yeah, like the first time I heard him, I was like, that's not J.K. Simmons. Who is it? And lo and behold, it wasn't J.K. Simmons. So yeah, for those reasons, Spider-Man PS4 for me, it's a disappointing 7 out of 10. Like, it could be better. It just isn't. It's just generic. It's paint by numbers, and yeah, it's weak. Like, this is nowhere near even top 10 for me. That's how whatever it is. Yeah, that is all. I don't really have much more to say. Bye bye. Subscribe.